So a Vikings fan from New Jersey. How does that happen?
So my dad is a huge football fan, massive football fan. When I was born, while I was born, my dad was watching Monday Night Football, while my mom was in labor at the hospital. So he's a pretty big football fan. He grew up a Giant fan. He is a Giant fan, and so he thought he was going to raise me a Giant fan, but he would always have football in the house. And when I was young, I fell in love with the sport. But instead of being a Giant fan, all I cared about was the colors of the team. And so I loved the color purple. I still love the color purple, but anything that had purple, I was a massive fan of. So Jeff from the Wiggles, huge fan of Jeff from the Wiggles. Mace Windu, huge fan of Mace Windu because he had a purple lightsaber. And so I fell in love with the Vikings. So when I was 5, the Vikings kicked the game-winning field goal to go to the playoffs that year. And so my dad was actually rooting for the Vikings because the Giants already had a playoff spot. So that was a very exciting trip. In about 7th grade, the Vikings were playing the Packers in Week 17, and my dad had always wanted to go to Lambeau because he had never been to Lambeau Field, which is the Packers stadium. And so I said to him, why don't we go to Lambeau? And I kind of pressed him a little bit hard, and he didn't really think anything of it. I didn't think we were actually gonna go. I was kind of just that would be amazing. That'd be an awesome experience. But Christmas rolls around, and the game is probably 2 weeks after Christmas. So Christmas rolls around, and I am opening my presents, and I open up a sheet of paper. What is this? This is not a toy. This is not an Xbox. What is it? This is not a toy. So I'm a little perplexed. I'm like, what can this be? It's like a sheet of paper. I start reading the sheet of paper, and it says, "Here are 2 tickets to the Vikings Packer game." And I was in shock. I was like, this is the best present ever. Week 17, when I was in 7th grade, so it was probably 2015, started the tradition of my dad and I going to one Vikings road game every year. Green Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, Dallas, Foxborough, Philadelphia, Carolina. It started a tradition between me and my dad that we go to one Vikings game. We travel to one Vikings game a year, and the memories that I have for that, I will be forever grateful for, because the experience of doing something with your dad that you both love and you both have a passion for is awesome. I get to travel the world and the United States with my dad, going to different cities and stadiums, and it's probably one of the coolest things that I do, and I'm really happy I get to do it, because I understand how lucky I am to be able to still have my dad in my life. My dad didn't have his dad. My dad's dad passed away when he was 10, so I think that's part of the reason that I look forward to these trips all the time too, is because it's a very special connection that you develop with your dad. I'm super lucky that I'm able to go on these trips, and also I love the Vikings, so anytime I can watch the Vikings in person, that's pretty awesome too. But it's a tradition that I hope we keep for years to come, and it's something very special.